Remember that water weighs about 8.36 pounds per gallon. This is a 6-gallon carboy here, which means the water in it alone weighs about 50 pounds, and then there's the weight of the glass and any hardware we attach to this bottle. These glass carboys come in sizes that are 6-gallon, 5-gallon, and also a 3-gallon. So it's important to choose the size bottle that's right for what you can actually carry safely and comfortably. Because all that water's in here, 50 pounds of it, and it's pressing against the sides of the glass, if we ding this bottle against something hard or we drop it, not only is it going to shatter and that water is going to go out in every direction, but that those pieces of glass are going to be flying out too. So we need to be really mindful of that. We need to have a proper lifting technique to protect our bodies, and we need to have a proper lifting and carrying technique to make sure that we don't break the bottle itself. So if this was a spring where we were able to pull a car up or a vehicle up real closely, all we need to do is a nice flat back with a deep squat, pick this bottle up like this, and that'll allow us to kind of, if we keep it real close to our center of gravity, in other words, it's pressed right up against our body, we can just walk it right into the vehicle and set it into the seat or down onto the floor. If, however, we're gonna go a further distance, we're gonna need to get that bottle up in a place where we can really carry it. I like to shoulder carry a bottle like this. So what I'm gonna do is deep squat, flat back, I'm gonna bring it up onto my knee, and then I'm gonna rotate it up onto my shoulder. And I'll usually use my fingers like this just to keep that cork in place. And what I'm doing is really relaxing that shoulder and finding the right place where all the sort of the whole side of my head and neck can make contact with the glass, and my whole shoulder is making contact, so it's fitting right into that crook. And that's going to allow me to walk real comfortably, just like this. If you have to walk any appreciable distance with this bottle, you're gonna need to switch shoulders at some point. Here's how we do it. I'll grab the neck of that bottle, drop my head, and just rotate to the other shoulder, and that way I can keep going. And you'll see that I can do that while I'm walking, so I don't actually have to stop, pause, and switch shoulders, but I can do that on the go. Okay, to set it down, I'm kind of gonna reverse the way that I picked it up. I like to grab a hold of the bottom like that, rotate it on my body, so the whole time it's pressed up against me. I can take it to a knee or just squat it back down. I'm always thinking about what that bottle's touching when it comes down to the floor. If it hits even a little bit of a pebble, that can sometimes be enough to break one of these bottles. So you want to make sure as you set it down, feel your way down, make sure it's on a good, soft, or at least flat surface, and then set it down. These orange handles, which you can pick up at brew supply shops, are fantastic for helping you manipulate these bottles, especially around your house. Now, it's important that you set it in the right place. Often I see people cinch these down over this first flange. That will or can eventually pop off the bottle when you're lifting it. So it's important that you press that down and get it actually below that bottom flange. A little more difficult to get it there, but that'll get you a nice secure hold. Now, you just need something like a screwdriver or something flat that you can use, and then you twist this wing nut until you tighten that up all the way. And this is going to really help you get purchase on this when you're moving this bottle around. And you want to get this tightened all the way up here. You can see that's been cinched up real tight, and now that's firmly locked on. With this orange handle on here, this bottle's much easier to move around, especially if I'm going to lift it up into my vehicle or if I'm taking it out of my vehicle. Also, when I go to put it on my shoulder, now I've got something I can hold on to a little bit more firmly, and that allows me to get a better transition up to my shoulder and gives me something to hold on to while I'm walking. A Carboy cover like this one from carboy.net can be invaluable for moving your bottle around. Now make sure you select the right size for the size bottle you have, and whether you have smooth glass or, like this one, a textured or waffled pattern. This is made for a 6-gallon bottle with a textured surface like this one. So all you're going to do is slip this bottle into this cover. Just pull the bottle cover up over the Carboy like this and zip it up. Now this is the configuration I like to keep my bottles in, with the orange handle and the Carboy cover. This gives me additional gripping surfaces. So there's these two handles here, and then there's also handles here. This allows me to carry this bottle much more easily. One of the things I really like about Carboy covers like these is that having a handle on either side allows you to have a person on either side, and you can share that load together while walking. If you're capable of it, one person can shoulder a bottle. With the other hand, they can carry a side, and the other person can carry this side and shoulder a bottle as well. And that allows you to carry 3 bottles with 2 people instead of 2. Another one of the benefits of these Carboy covers is that I can hold on to my front handle and I can reach around and find that back handle. That allows me to shoulder this a little bit more like a backpack. So over time, if I'm walking any distance with it, I can adjust it from being up high and down a little bit lower, and that allows me to be comfortable longer as I'm walking. Now that we're back to the vehicle, we want to get these Carboys in the car in such a way that they're not going to tip over and that they're not going to clank together and break. You can imagine having 6 gallons of water and glass spill out on your floor would be really damaging to your vehicle. So we're going to try to position them in such a way that they stay upright, and if there are multiple bottles, that they don't bang into each other. Probably the simplest way to do this is to put the bottle right on the floor. What I like to do is slide the seat up and forward and make some space. Then I can set that bottle right on the floor and actually just use the seat to pin it in place. That way it's not going to move at all and it sits up nice and rigid. If I have multiple bottles, sometimes I'll use something like a towel, a jacket, a sweater, something to pad that off so that different glass bottles aren't touching each other and potentially shattering one another. Another way that you can do this, especially if you have multiple bottles across the floor and you need even more space, is to use the seat and the seat belt. I don't find that this is as secure, but it works pretty well, especially if you're only going a short distance. I'll set that bottle up just like a person and wrap my belt around it, locking it snugly into place. I'll lift up that orange handle, I'll make a loop. Now this will work on its own if you don't have one of these orange handles, but not as well, because with the orange handle, I can cinch that down and that bottle will stay somewhat locked into place and upright. Like I said, it's not as secure, so if you have multiple bottles, make sure if they're close to each other, they're padded off because they will move around some.